From Stockholm, this is the Northern Economy perspective, insights, clarity, the Nordic way. Hello and welcome to the Northern Economy perspective. I'm Nora Lindholm, speaking to you from Stockholm. Thank you for joining me today for a deeper look at one of the most important economic questions in our region right now, the housing market crisis in Sweden, and how it shapes the financial and social landscape not only here, but also across Finland and the broader Nordic region. This episode is based on data and documents provided in the research of the Info Broker World Information Department. Over the past 2 years, Sweden has moved from years of steadily rising property values into one of Europe's most pronounced price corrections. After reaching their peak in spring 2022, housing prices have fallen by around 15 to 20%, and in some areas even more. Behind these numbers lies a combination of inflation, sharply increasing construction costs, and a financial structure where many mortgages are tied to flexible interest rates. As the Riksbank raised rates in 2023, many households suddenly faced much higher monthly payments, in some cases a doubling or even tripling of their mortgage burden. It's a situation that has had a profound cooling effect on the entire market, and because these conditions were structurally embedded, the correction was not only sudden, but also quite deep. Finland, although different in its political and social approach to housing, finds itself navigating similar headwinds. High interest rates have reduced demand there as well, especially in the Helsinki metropolitan region. Analysts expect prices in Finland to continue softening into 2025 before a slow recovery becomes possible. This is especially sensitive for areas such as Helsinki, Espoo, and Vantaa, which are closely connected to Swedish banks and Nordic institutional investors. Uncertainty moves quickly across borders, particularly in markets as closely linked as those in Sweden and Finland. What we are witnessing is not only a price correction, but also a construction crisis. Walking through Stockholm, Gothenburg, or Malmö, it's hard to miss the silent cranes and delayed projects. According to the material you provided, Sweden's construction sector is facing its steepest downturn since the 1990s. Company insolvencies in the industry have risen by almost 60% year on year, and layoffs reached their highest level since the global financial crisis. New building permits have dropped dramatically, with forecasts suggesting that the number of housing starts could fall to nearly half of what they were in 2021. This coincides with a social challenge. Even as urban populations grow and the need for affordable housing increases, construction activity is slowing down exactly when it is most needed. At the same time, we see Nordic diversity reflected in the political responses. Sweden is trying to stimulate supply by loosening regulations and lowering the barriers for construction, for example, with models that make it possible to build small houses without lengthy permit processes. Discussions focus on easing credit rules for buyers and reducing amortization requirements. But these measures also highlight a tension. Despite all efforts, housing shortages persist, especially in Sweden's major cities, and affordability remains a significant challenge. Finland, in contrast, places stronger emphasis on social policy. Its internationally recognized Housing First strategy aims to end homelessness by giving people permanent housing without preconditions. The program has significantly reduced long-term homelessness and shifted the national conversation towards social inclusion. In this way, the Nordic region presents two different but equally meaningful approaches, one that leans toward market mechanisms and one that emphasizes social support. Both, however, must face the macroeconomic reality of rising costs, high interest rates, and fragile investor confidence. Yet despite the difficulties, there are signs of cautious optimism. The Riksbank has begun gradually lowering interest rates in 2024 and 2025, and this shift is slowly bringing investors back into the Swedish market. Urban rental markets remain robust, supported by strong demand and limited available housing. Long-term structural factors, such as urbanization, demographic growth, and the Nordic commitment to sustainable building, continue to attract capital. Even holiday home buyers, who became more cautious during the peak of the crisis, are now beginning to re-enter the market. Prices for vacation properties have fallen slightly, creating opportunities for both domestic and international buyers, especially given the appeal of lake and coastal regions and the rising trend of choosing cooler destinations for holidays. Looking further ahead, the research material suggests that the Nordic housing markets may gradually stabilize and return to moderate growth. Sweden is expected to see annual price increases of around 3 to 6% in the coming years, potentially leading to a total rise of 9 to 19% by 2028. Finland may recover more slowly, but with renewed strength in the Helsinki region once interest rates and energy costs soften. Norway, supported by limited supply and steady income growth, could experience stronger price movements as early as 2025. Across the region, sustainability continues to be a decisive factor, with energy-efficient and wooden buildings gaining in value and attracting long-term investment interest. From a broader perspective, what we are witnessing is more than a cyclical downturn. It is a structural transition, a moment when the weaknesses of the Nordic housing systems become visible, but so do their strengths. High levels of household debt and stalled construction highlight the vulnerabilities of the current model. At the same time, transparency, social cohesion, and a deep cultural focus on long-term planning remain the pillars holding the Nordic economies together. Even in difficult moments, trust acts as an anchor, and perhaps that is the essential insight of this moment. In the Nordic economies, data and trust are inseparable. Trust shapes policy, guides investment, and influences how societies respond to uncertainty. And data, clear, honest, openly shared, is what strengthens that trust. As I often say, data creates trust, and trust drives the Nordic economy. This was the Northern Economy Perspective, your insight into innovation, sustainability, and economic transformation across the Nordic markets. I'm Nora Lindholm, information influencer for InfoBroker World. You'll find more information, data links, and contact details in the show notes. This podcast is an AI-powered production by InfoBroker World, combining journalism and artificial intelligence. We also support organizations in creating AI-driven podcast formats and research concepts. Details below. Tack för att du lyssnade. Vi hörs nästa uke. Ha en riktigt fin dag.